It's the SawCast, where we speak that real shit on real topics every day. And I'm your host, Stevo.
And I'm Ariel. What the fuck you do?
What's happening?
This week on the podcast, we're doing finance part 2. And this is the budgeting podcast. Before you do any finance, any finance or investing in general, you need to know how to budget. Because you need to know how much you have to spend or invest.
And save and put away.
So we're going to start with the first question, which is, what is budgeting?
What is a budget?
So a budget is a set, I would say like a set of, what would you say?
So a budget, I would explain a budget as in your knowing like a visual representation of your expenses subtracted by, your income subtracted by your expenses. So that's a visual representation of your income subtracted by your expenses. And that's what a budget basically is.
Yeah, and it's a way for you to plan out what you're going to bring in versus what you're putting out so that you know exactly where everything is going. Because if you do not have that, then it could get crazy.
Right, because if you don't have a budget, then you don't know where your money's going. So it's a perfect way for you to at least see. You know, it's not the end all be all, but it will help you to know where your money is going every month, you know what I'm saying? Every week even, you know? So
yeah, so the second question is, how do you budget? So, I mean, the first thing is you need to calculate how much you are bringing in. Make sure you know exactly how much you're bringing in. And sometimes I wouldn't say sometimes, I'll say every time, if you know to the dollar what you're going to bring in, that's the best way. Even like when you first start out budgeting, you need to be really, really like honest with what you're actually bringing in and what you're actually putting out. And that is the only way you're going to get farther in investing in whatever finance you want to do. Even if you're trying to buy something, a house or something, assets or anything like that, you need to be very certain, because when you are trying to buy an asset or anything like that, that's going to be something that they take into account of how much you're actually bringing in versus how much you're actually putting out. How to budget? Calculate how much you're actually bringing in and calculate how much you're actually putting out, but you need to write it down some type of way.
And when we say write it down, okay, like we assume that everybody knows what we're talking about, but just to tackle that a little bit further. Now, when we say write it down, we mean, what do you make? Exactly what you make, and we talking about everything you're paying. We're talking about your rent. We're talking about all the bills associated with your housing. We're talking about all the bills that you're paying as far as like installment loans, car payments, anything besides, I would say, like a student loan or something. You should calculate.
No, you should still calculate that too.
In your budget?
If you're paying it. Yeah. Okay, sorry, if you're paying it.
If you're paying it. Keyword, if you're paying it. But key phrase, if you're paying it. But when you're calculating your budget, make sure you're honest too. Because see, if you're not honest, then that's when your dollars slip. And you don't want them loose dollars to slip away from you, because those are the most important ones, you know? Because your pennies could stack to dollars and your dollars could stack to thousands, you know what I'm saying?
And I would say me and Steven, when we budget, we over budget. Like we overdo the expenses and underdo how much we make. So like if you like an overtime person or something like that, do not budget in your overtime. Budget based off of how much you make regularly. If you got some overtime, that's good. You can put that to your savings, put that to your investing. That overtime stuff need to go directly to your savings, investing, anything, unless you need it for your housing. But I would say when you're budgeting, always budget your base salary. Do not budget no extra, no bonuses, none of that stuff. Because if anything happens, you need to know how much you need to make in order for you to live.
Yes.
And so if you over budgeting and doing that, all the stuff where you have, like sometimes during the year, I'll say majority of the year, you're not going to have the energy, mental health, everything that goes into that. You might not have the energy to overexert yourself. There's going to be times where you're sick, everything like that. And when you're sick, if you do get sick pay and everything, you're only going to get the regular amount that you make. You're not going to get that overtime. So if you budget based off of what you regularly make, then you should be good in anything that comes your way.
Yeah, for sure. And it's to give yourself extra padding. What they say, undersell and over deliver kind of thing like that. You know, it's kind of similar, you know, and then it's just a best practice, right? Because if you practice things like that, then it sets you up for the future. Your future self will be happier because you did what you were supposed to do now.
Yep. So you definitely need to do that. Now, there's different budgeting strategies that we have. The first one is the 50-30-20 rule. I'll let Steven talk about that one.
So the 50-30-20 rule, I've seen this float around a lot of different times. So it's 50% on needs, 30% on wants, and 20% on investing. So I'm a person to where I like to take these different strategies and different knowledge that I learned and apply it to me. So once you see certain, I like to put this on here because everybody likes to follow everything to a T. You don't have to follow everything to a T. It's not exactly. It's made for that because in a perfect world, right? But we're not in a perfect world, and we all know this. So you should take that, and if you have to do 60-30-10. You know what I'm saying? Be realistic and do 60-30-10. If you have to do, you shouldn't do no more than 60-30-10. Because if you're doing more than 60-30-10, then we got a problem. And then you live in two beyond your means for sure. So different strategies like this are just a way for you to mentally check yourself and checks and balances for yourself, right? It keeps you honest, right? So that 50% is on living needs. You know, that's housing. You know, that's everything that comes along with things of that nature, groceries, and that's to be that. And then 30%? What was it? Wants. 30% on wants. So that's stuff like, you know, that you want to do, your lifestyle. Let's think lifestyle. I want to go party. I want to go here. I want to buy some clothes. Things of that nature is a want. And then the 20% is investing. Like I said, in the perfect world, investing, but some people can only do 5%. So you have to adjust the needs and the wants. But you shouldn't adjust the wants too much. It should really be the needs and the investing.
I was about to say.
So overall, if you're a person that you are at the current time living above your means, but you can't change that, okay, be realistic with yourself. And like we said, with that budget, be realistic.
Right.
So that's where the budget comes in. The budget's the first thing. So the budget is so you can see how much you can invest, and if you can invest with this strategy,
right, yes.
And if you invest with this strategy, how do you have to tweak it and modify it, right?
Because if you look at your budget and you don't have most of your budget is going to your needs, then you're not going to be able to you don't need to be worried about wants or investing. You need to be worried about getting your needs down, like cutting your needs down low until where you need to be at, and then think about wants, think about investing and stuff like that. You're not going to be able to invest or get further into where you want to get to financially without looking at how much you're making, bringing in and stuff like that, and rationing it the way you're supposed to ration it.
Right. So that's like in a perfect case scenario, you should ration it that way. So that gets you thinking like, am I overextending myself? Am I not doing what I need to do to actually save and invest like I need to?
Right. So the next one is pay yourself first. When pay yourself first is like when you're using your budget to basically save more than anything else. The first thing you do when you get your check is to pay yourself, which is to save your money or invest your money. That's what pay yourself is. And normally that's like you could do automatically taking money out your account or something like that, or making sure that you always put it everywhere that it needs to go before you start thinking about paying bills. And now that's kind of something that you can do once you get a little bit further. To me, I would think
a lot of discipline.
I would think this strategy would be for somebody who already knows their budget, and then they can do that. If you don't know your budget, then I wouldn't suggest doing it that way.
This is like an intermediate level strategy. You know,
yeah, but I mean, and this is only for planners because you have to know how much you want to save a year based off of what you have in order for you to pay yourself. If you don't know how much you want to save before, then you don't need to be paying yourself first. You need to be making sure your bills are paid first.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
The next one is zero-based budgeting, which is where you go into it and you budget you use your budget, you budget all the way down to zero. So, your check is $1,000.59.
Yeah.
You're going to budget down to that 59 cents. And you're going to make sure that all your money goes directly into where it's supposed to go. And that way, that's a good strategy if you're definitely somebody who's like serious about your budgeting. Make sure that sometimes, honestly, I don't know if that's a strategy for somebody who has kids or anything like that. I would say because with somebody with kids, it's too many like different scenarios that I feel like could happen when you have more people in the budget versus just you in the budget. But what you think, Steven?
Well, I would say a zero base would just be a strategy that per se
Like, what type of person you think would be better for zero base?
A zero base. No, I don't think it's a person. I think it's a strategy that has to be updated.
Okay.
That's consistently.
Yeah, you definitely looking at your budget a lot for sure.
If you're a person,
that means you're budgeting probably monthly. Like you're budgeting monthly.
You're budgeting monthly, but
sure.
But you're also budgeting for that week to week. So that zero base will probably be like based off of your scenario at that point in time, right?
Yeah, that's a good.
If you're a person, it's adjustment. Oh, there we go, an adjustment. The zero base is an adjustment. It's an adjustment based investing strategy.
Okay.
That's what I would call it.
Budgeting
strategy.
Yeah.
My fault.
That's not good because we all
budgeting strategy.
Think about the investment.
It's a budgeting strategy. Yeah. So investment. So yeah. So it's an adjustable budgeting strategy because since it's zero base, you have to base it off of what that bottom dollar is.
Yeah.
Every time, whatever that bottom dollar is, you have to adjust it. This week it might be different. That week it might be different. This week it might be different.
Yeah, but that reduces the amount of money that you're going to waste. That's going to make sure that everything is paid. That's going to make sure that you have things where they're supposed to go. So honestly, it's a really good strategy if you can be very disciplined. But if you're not that disciplined, you have to be
honest too, though.
You got to be very honest. But you got to be honest with it. That's what we told them at the beginning. You have to be honest with it. Budgeting with yourself when you're budgeting in general.
With yourself first.
Exactly. That's why I said you gotta be, and like I said, we already said this, but you need to make sure that you under budget how much you're gonna make. Like I said, do not budget what you think you gonna make. Budget what you know you gonna make. Facts. And then budget what you think you gonna spend. Plus what you know you gonna spend. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. Because sometimes you have to adjust it based off your circumstances.
Because if it's one month where your hair costs $500 and 1 month where your hair costs $150, budget for $500 because it might be a $500 month and you never. You just want to make sure that whatever you have and you need, you can do. So, like I said,
especially if it's a necessity to you.
Exactly. So when you go by that bottom dollar, that definitely comes into play for sure. Next one is envelope budgeting, which you take each part of your, like you group your spending into bundles and then you just put amount that you want to spend in each envelope, basically. Like you group your check based off of how much you want to spend on each one of your wants, needs, and stuff like that.
And this is more of I would say, more for those people if you lack a little discipline and you need to put it away. Right, because the envelope strategy is for you put it away,
don't see it,
then you don't see it. You know, if it's not there, then you're not gonna use it, right? So normally when you put it in an envelope, just the process. This is a process budgeting strategy. So the process of it makes you think about it, right? Because if you have to go in an envelope to get your money for this, and that says that you have this on there or that on there, like you could say savings on there, and then like you like, wow, I gotta physically go into this envelope and take out of my savings. So it's a different mental process for you opposed to if you're just spending something from a card, right? Because you have to actually physically go to wherever you put that envelope and then actually go in that envelope and then actually take out of that envelope. So it's more steps and it's just a process based thing. And a lot of times it helps. I see it help a lot of people and they save a lot more because it just becomes second nature after a while. I don't put envelope, boom, this envelope. So you might say savings envelope, and then you might say emergency fund envelope. Let's just keep it, in general. Boom, you go to both of those envelopes. You're so used to it, right? And then maybe you can do a different strategy because now that you're used to that, now you're like a well-oiled machine, and now everything's in gear.
Makes sense. Okay, the next one is automatic budgeting. Automatic budgeting is when you have it set and go. Like you have things on automatic pay. You got your savings coming right out, everything. Now I feel like you cannot do automatic budgeting until you do the simple budgeting first. Until you know exactly what's going on, do not do automatic budgeting. And me personally, I would never do automatic budgeting because to me, life has too many unknown things that happens in your life. So it's like, I don't know, maybe sometimes I might need that $200 I'm paying for my light bill, and I might need to push my light bill back a week.
Right, really.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't want it automatically to come out because I don't know what's gonna happen. Like sometimes I might need a new tire, and that might come from the light bill. So I don't want that automatically coming out of my check, and I ain't got the money for the light bill. So it just depends. You know what I'm saying? If you have enough to automatic budget, then that's cool. I feel like But that's definitely a way where you can set it and you can forget it and you can go about your business and live your life and not worry about budgeting at all. And honestly, if like I said, you just got to be a person who already is content on financially what they have, and then making sure that, you know what I'm saying, you're good before you start setting and forgetting it.
I would say you could take baby steps with the automatic investment.
Oh yeah, a little bit here, a little bit.
I keep saying investment.
For sure, like you can do rent because you know your rent you have to pay your rent.
And I wasn't.
You don't think so?
No. I'm saying it would be good to do in a perfect world. Mm-hmm. It would be good to do rent, but I'm talking about your everyday person to where you might have to start small before you start large. And I'm saying that they could put the light bill on there.
Okay.
Reoccurring light bill. Make sure that, something small just so they get into the habit of, that's coming out, the cable bill.
Just because to me, like a light bill or something like that is an uncertain number. You don't know how much your light bill going to be every month. So 1 month.
So you saying they should start with?
Yeah, to me,
more consistent number.
I'm just saying, for me, I would never do that because light bills are inconsistent. It's a lot of times where I've seen light bills where I've seen
bill, but I'm saying
light bill is important thing because that's a bill that changes, and sometimes the light bills jack like the light companies. We in IT, they jack up the money. We don't know how much they're gonna take out. Sometimes they take out the wrong amount, all that. Then you out $500 that week, and you ain't getting that shit back because it came from the light bill. You can't fraud a light bill that's on automatic pay. I know y'all try to do that, but you can't do that. But so that's I'm not going against what you're saying. I'm just saying that's why I'm scared of automatic pay. Like I don't know what's gonna happen, so I'll be scared. And I'm more disciplined to know that once it's on my budget, I see it, I have to pay it. It's automatic. I have to pay it. So I don't think about not paying it or it's not going to get paid. I'm just thinking like I'm just like too uncertain, so I don't know. And I ain't rich.
Well, automatic. I would say automatic be good for. I mean, if you're a person that is a very routine individual. Now, automatic is for routine individuals.
Yeah,
your routine doesn't change.
I feel like you could put automatic budgeting for people who, not automatic budgeting everything, but I feel like automatic budgeting is for bills that ain't gonna change. It's okay for me. Okay. If I know my insurance ain't gonna change.
That's more fair.
I know my insurance gonna change. I know my rent ain't gonna change.
That's more fair.
I'm cool with putting that on automatic, but my light bill, I don't know. My utilities, my water, I don't know.
Okay, I would say, now that you said that, that make a little more sense because when somebody is budgeting for their rent, people normally don't skip on the rent, right? They skip on the lights before they skip on the rent.
Facts.
So I'm saying,
and you can
technically,
because they ain't gonna cut your lights off until you
with less penalties.
They ain't gonna cut your lights off until
weeks to
right, and then
overdue past due.
Yeah, also we didn't even bring up that.
What?
That's something that you could also think about the type of bills that you have and think of the stuff you can do with those. So I think that's good. We didn't put that in our podcast.
You talking about the different I would say the different breaks they give you. Right?
Yeah, because like a light bill, they'll give you a couple weeks to pay versus your rent. You ain't got that many days.
Nah, for sure.
You get a penalty.
And then if you don't
even with your insurance,
and then if you don't pay, you gonna get a penalty.
I'm saying your utilities, they might give you a little extra. Your insurance a little bit,
week or something to pay it.
Yeah, that matters.
But that rent, they taxing you immediately once it ain't paid.
It's over with.
So now that you actually said that, it makes a little more sense. So your rent might should be
take that into account.
Automatic.
Take that into account after
if you want to do automatic.
Being honest with yourself, then you take that into account what you can do with what. So when you do have, because we always planning for the ifs, the B's, the plan B's. We don't know what's about to happen.
Plan B and C.
So if you make sure that you know which bills you can go here, there on when there's issues that happen in your life, you won't be so stressed out because I'm gonna make that money back to pay that bill eventually anyway. But know for sure you got to have that rent. You got to have that car payment.
Non-negotiable.
You got to have that car payment. They're gonna come get it.
Now they're gonna come get, but that's different though.
True, you got to fire a month.
Yeah, people gonna come get their shit.
And you can call them and be like, I ain't really
payments.
Facts. I want to do that.
Or you could call them and schedule your shit back and be like, they'll just schedule you back a month or something.
Yeah, when you when you got payment arrangements,
you got a little bit more leeway with that.
When you do payment arrangements and stuff like that, make sure you put that in your budget too, and make sure.
For sure.
And make sure you try to pay the less amount of time I know y'all try to stretch your payment arrangement out long. Do not do that. Get that shit over with so you can go back to investing and saving.
Interest that they hit you on that when you extend it. That's what we don't think about in the long term. But the long term, you paying more money. Yeah, but just to pay up front, right? But all of these budgeting strategies are really just whichever one is for you, right?
Yeah. And now,
the reason why we do this budgeting podcast, investing podcast, financial literacy, right? It's just a reminder for those who already know, but then it's also something for those who don't know for you to go and research. So go to research, look more in depth, and you might heard of one of these. You're like, oh, that's interesting. If it interests you, immediately after it interests you, write it down somewhere. Put your reminder in. If you don't do it immediately, I would suggest you do it immediately. But if you don't do it immediately, put your reminder in your phone. Because I know I'll be forgetful sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And I'll be forgetting some shit, so I got to put a reminder in there. So put that reminder in your phone to, hey, if any of these budgeting strategies that you're interested in, put that reminder in your phone. Okay, spend you about 30, 40 minutes, 20 minutes, however many minutes you need, 20 to 30 minutes at least on this budgeting strategy. Get yourself right, and I'm telling you, your future self is gonna thank you.
Speaking of that, I think you should put in every bill that you have needs to have a reminder somewhere. I would suggest on your phone if you use your phone all the time.
So what about like sometimes they see emails. You talking about that, or are you talking about like a actual like calendar?
I'm saying
reminder?
like sometimes
a reminder.
I'll say for me, I'll ignore emails sometimes because I get so many. But I'll say like on your calendar, like you said, like a bing, rent today, bing, electricity due. You need to make sure that when you are writing down your budget, that's a very important thing. The first thing you need to do is write down all your bills and what date that they are due.
Facts.
And then make sure if you're a forgetful person, because sometimes I forget things, you put it on your calendar so they can let you know it's due, and then write down, the amounts too.
And then make sure
that's very important.
And then everybody gets paid differently too. Some people get paid on the 1st and the 15th. Some people get paid every 2 weeks. Some people get paid weekly.
Some people get paid monthly. One time.
So that all matters, and that's how you have to budget as well. Mm-hmm. So you have to budget around your circumstance. That's another circumstantial
and be realistic
factor
too.
That you have to, and then you might have to discipline, because sometimes you might want to have a little fun, but you don't have the funds. You know what I'm saying? Don't
try to create funds. That's where you're messing up at. Do not create funds.
If you don't have it, don't spend it.
If you don't have it, you don't have it.
If you don't have it, don't spend it.
Yeah. But if you don't have it, because we got people in our family. We got people in our family that think they got it, they don't.
No.
If you don't have it, don't got it. You know what I'm saying? If you don't physically see it in your account as far as like in a spendable manner after you budget everything, you don't have the money.
If it's not tangible.
You don't have the money.
It's not tangible
if your money is in your retirement account, if your money's in your investments, that's not money you can spend.
That's a way.
You need to count that as zero.
That's not
a part of the money you have that you can spend.
Not spending. Yeah, that's not about your spending money.
That's not your budget. That's not in your budget.
No, it's not.
The only thing that you're doing with your budget with that is putting more towards that. Right.
Put more towards that.
But you are spending, do not think about that. Yeah. That's some money that you can spend.
Put it to the side and be like,
you like, damn, you gonna look at your account like, damn, I got $40,000 in my account. I can, if something happen, I'm cool. No, you're not, nigga. Think of that as nothing, because that is for your future. That's for your future self when you're older and you need to live off of $2,000, $300,000, $4,000 a month. You ain't gonna have that $4,000 a month if you spend it right now.
Facts.
So you don't have it.
I think that's the most important part with these financial podcasts, is we trying to get everybody to think about the future, right? Like, we think about the future, right? But it's even a good reminder for us as well. Because, we're not where we want to be yet. But even though we're climbing up the ladder, we still want to help everybody while we're climbing up, and then share strategies that we think are interesting.
Yeah, because honestly, one thing I will say that for us too, one thing I will say your budget doesn't take into account is your community. You know what I'm saying? As long as you got your budget in place and then things happen, you still have your community that you could probably lean on. So if your community is strong, you strong. Like Steven said, if we making sure that we coming up, we want to make sure everybody come up so that if something happened to me, I can ask Steven. If something happened to Steven, he can ask me. But if we ain't all on track with the finances, then we only got each other, ourselves. Right. And that's harder. You know what I'm saying?
Harder.
Versus
it makes life a lot more difficult for sure.
Versus you having a strong community. So if you are starting to budget and things like that, put that in your friend's ear.
No, for like accountability.
Put that in your people's ear.
Accountability.
Put that in your people's ear
for sure, because you got accountability partner. Somebody especially if you're first starting, right? If you know somebody that's budgeting already, go to them and make sure they keep you accountable. You don't have to share all of your details, but just, check in occasionally when you have conversations. Just have different conversations. I know motherfuckers care about what LeBron doing, what Cardi B and Offset is going through, but what's most important is what the hell is you doing? What the hell is you got going? You know what I'm saying? And make sure that your budget right, make sure your money right. And one way to make sure your money right is make sure your budget right. You know what I'm saying? Because
that is the only way.
That's the starter kit. That's the starter kit.
Because if you don't know what's going on with your money, then you don't know.
Financial success is budgeting, nothing. Right?
That's why people think when people ask these celebrities, "Hey, I got your net worth. We saw your net worth was $10 million." They be like, "My net worth more than that." Niggas is not really paying attention to what the fuck they like. You know what I'm saying? They're like these people who are on network. They're subtracting your expenses, your everything based off of the assets that you have. They're not saying, "Oh, we know you just got a check for $10 million, but you got to pay 40% of that to taxes, so you don't got $10 million." These celebrities not financially savvy, so they think they got $10 million in the bag. No, you gonna have to get a government that 40%, or you gonna have to get somebody that 40%. So the government say whoever the government say is okay for you to get a 40% too. That 40% is gonna be gone. So you don't have that 40%. You don't have 10 million. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, like you said, you gotta make sure you straight. I would say the next thing, the benefits of budgeting. That's what we wanted to know.
We kind of tackled that, but
we did.
But we kind of hinted towards it, right?
Yeah.
Because one of the things we say, the benefit of budgeting, one major benefit of budgeting is so you know. Because then once you know, then you're aware, right? Once you're aware, then you can be like, okay, damn, I am spending too much. Or damn, I don't have enough money. Now you can either go work a second job or go learn something to get you a better job. That's what budgeting is most important thing. The most important thing in budgeting is so you know where you're at financially.
Right, yeah. And
because
if
you might not be happy.
You want to get, you might want, if you got to go into your credit too much that month, then that means you need to make more money. And you'll know that if you write your stuff down. Or if you see how much you make and then you look at your rent compared to that, then you like, I really don't have it, so where am I getting it? You get it from your credit cards. And it's like, you don't got the money for real.
Or you might actually just have too many installment loans. Because you got too many installment loans, and now you got too many people. You got too many people in your pocket. Yeah, right?
People.
So you got too many people in your pocket, and now you like, damn, I actually make decent money, but I don't see as much benefit from the money that I make because I'm wasting too much of it.
I would say that I'll definitely resonate with that. I would say in my personal life, I definitely had to cut back on the spending, but it was more so because I was going to see my family too many times a year. You know what I'm saying? And that was coming out of my budget because the way that I travel, and it's the same way I travel when I go see my family. I get a place, I get a car, I get a flight. I like a certain type of flight, I like a certain type of car, I like a certain type of living situation, and that comes into play. And so once I cut back on that, I was able to get my finances back to more better way where I need to be at. So like you said, paying attention to your finances and writing it down, seeing where it's going. Because I was just writing down, I will say at first, writing down what I was spending. because I've been budgeting for years. I would say I was just writing down what I was spending, but then I went.
Actually, fun fact, she actually created my first budget. Well, created the budget I still use to this day.
And we'll talk about that later because we're going to go into that. But I've been budgeting for a long time. But at first I was just writing down my needs and stuff like that. But then when I started writing down exactly what I was spending the other money on, then I was like, oh, I need to chill the fuck out. And I did chill the fuck out. And my investments is way better now.
Her needs wasn't 30%. Her needs wasn't 30%.
It was not.
It was more than 30%.
And I was really handling other people's needs, and then other people was acting like I wasn't, and I was like, okay, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens when I come back on y'all needs. I was just saying. So once I started doing that, I'm Gucci. You know what I'm saying? But I wasn't.
Look at her smile.
I was not Gucci before that.
Look at her smile.
It lets you know where your money is going, and lets you realize if you need to cut back. Where you need to cut back, which we just talked about.
If you need to cut back or if you need to do better.
And like Steven said, if you it lets you know if you want to be more comfortable, what you got to make to be more comfortable. Yeah. Because when you write down your budget, you can, once you have your budget down, then you can put other numbers of how much income. Like you can write another income in there and see what your money look like. You like, oh, I do have enough money to get me some Balenciagas or whatever the fuck you want.
Fact.
You know what I'm saying? If I make a little bit more, so.
I'm telling you.
Okay, so how should you keep track of it? Now, you write that shit down on a piece of paper in a journal. Because they have budgeting journals as well. You can buy that. You can buy those.
It's based off a person, right?
For sure.
But we're in more of a digital age, so more people probably would benefit off of an Excel sheet or something.
But I say there's a lot of women that I know that like to still write journals, stuff like that. So you could have a written budget down like that. But we budget on Excel. So I say
maybe because we're digital people.
Probably because we're IT people. I love Excel. I'm obsessed with Excel. So I'm going to always say Excel.
I think it's not only because we IT, but because we came up in the digital and analog era.
And we millennials.
Yeah,
so we know what it was like to write it down versus put it in Excel, and Excel is always faster.
But some people, I will say that as well. Some people,
you can see how much your money gonna be. You can see your budget in 2027 if you do Excel versus
based
writing
off of
it
what
down.
You're making. Yeah, but
you can see your budget in 2027 in 5 minutes versus it's gonna take you 5 hours to write that shit out. I don't know, and I'll say human error too.
What are you talking about as far as writing it now?
Yes, because you might calculate some shit wrong. But Excel gonna calculate that shit right every time.
But at the same time, everybody's different. That goes back to knowing yourself, right?
I know.
Are you the person that wants to write it down? You know, just like reading. Because some people just.
I mean, Excel is still writing it down, but it's the calculation part is the digital part. You're still writing it down.
Right, but I'm saying some people like the freehand. They still like the freehand.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying. You said motherfuckers don't want to do that.
No, but I'm saying there are a few people.
Yeah, for sure.
That still like that.
It's older
part.
people that may watch our podcast. Yeah, write that shit down if you got to.
If you got to write it down.
Like you can, honestly, if you're a write down person, I would suggest getting a big ass
planner or something.
No, I wouldn't say that. I would say get a big ass whiteboard. A whiteboard and some markers, some dry erase markers, and write that shit out in big, and put it on the wall or something like that. You know, the dry erase boards, just so you can see the shit. Cause then that'd be okay. Cause then you can do it every month. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. If you visual, put that shit up. Put it where you can see it.
But then what would they do after that? Then you know what I'm saying.
Erase it and write it and keep on writing. If they writing it, then they gonna have to keep updating it every so often.
Keep it on that whiteboard to where they can see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Put it in big letters so you can see that shit.
Okay.
If you don't want to have it in a booklet or a journal like that, put it on the whiteboard. But like I said, also Excel. You know what I'm saying? And normally, if you any type of office job, if you have any type of office job, you have Excel. They probably got Excel, Microsoft, so go ahead and use Excel. Also, we have Google Docs. Google Docs is free. They have
if you got a Google account,
they have
Yep.
Yeah, and that's free. So it's their app is called Spreadsheets, and it does the same thing Excel does.
And you can convert Excel sheets to Google Sheets. I mean Excel.
It'd be a little. Yeah, a little something look.
It'll be a little off.
Yeah, so you might have to, if you do that, you might have to get an IT person to help you. But because I've done that before for a lot of people. But if you don't have Excel, just use Google spreadsheets. And then also, if you have a MacBook, Mac has numbers, so you can use numbers as well to put your budget in. I would never say Word because there's no point in you using Word unless you don't write it down. No point. I would always say we always say with budgeting, investing, anything, to use numbers, Excel, or spreadsheets, because you can calculate on there faster, because you don't need to be trying to use a calculator to do it, because you're going to have a human error. It doesn't matter how smart you are, you're going to fuck something up. Maybe you might fuck something up. Possibly. So it's way better for you to calculate in an app like that, or you can just, like I said, write it down in big letters. So if you do, you could probably catch an error if it's bigger versus in a little, a little planner or something like that.
Yeah, and sometimes but see with me, I think since we came up a part of the digital and analog era, sometimes I do things analog and then transfer them to digital.
Oh yeah, so you can't do that. So write it down first and then put it in there first,
just to get it out and then put it there, because not everybody has a tablet. But you have to do that. Everybody has,
I will say that you have to do that first because you got numbers out. Because you got to go find you got to go log in, or I don't know if you log in, or you want to look at all of your mail to see when the dates are that everything is due and how much you got to pay.
Well, but they might not do that because they might use their notes too, because they notes on their phone. Because sometimes I use my notes on my phone, and then transfer it to something else, right? But either way, you have to get all of the raw data out first, and then you have to transfer it to something more structured.
Yep.
So always make sure that, like we said from the beginning, be honest with yourself. But then you have to be disciplined. So you have to work on your honesty first, but then you got to be disciplined second, right? And don't beat yourself up, right? If you've been doing something a certain way for so long and you do it for a different way, you're going to have hiccups.
Exactly. Like when you first start budgeting, you're going to fuck your budget up. It's so much you're going to fuck your budget up. But you're going
to be better off than you was.
Yep.
You're going to have a few more dollars than you did.
And when them issues happen, you're going to be able to recover.
A lot faster.
Because you know where the money at. You know what's going to go. And you're fully aware of your finances at that point.
Yeah, and then now you're like, oh damn.
Like damn, should we did the budgeting first and then we did the investments?
Probably. But it's
But we wanted to go
too far.
But we wanted to encourage y'all to invest first.
Because
please invest.
You know what's so crazy? But even
if you don't budget your money, you still need to put some money somewhere. You still got probably like $50, $100 to throw somewhere. So throw it somewhere.
Everybody got it.
Right. Throw that shit in there.
But I think that's the problem. I think that's the problem. I'm a I just
said Ethereum for Steven. I don't got nothing in Ethereum. I'm an old school. I'm an old school one. Hell no, I'm an old school. But I think some of my ETFs got some in crypto.
You got an ETF? You got one ETF?
I got a couple.
You got a crypto ETF?
No, I got I feel like some of those ETFs.
Some of your ones you got?
Probably got some money in crypto.
The companies do.
Yeah. I'm saying. I don't know if they're mixed. They're mixed.
Oh, yours do?
Yeah, some of them are mixed. Like they bond stocks, ETFs. They all mixed up in here.
So if they modern, they probably do.
Facts. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Steven said, make sure you be real with yourself. Remember we said something?
Because when it all falls down, you be the only one you got.
Be real with yourself with this budgeting shit.
No, about that.
And nobody know nothing about what you got going on anyway. Except for you. So be real about it. And you're going to get so much farther. And like I said, once you start writing shit down, you're going to remember it. And you're going to think about it even when you out eating and stuff like that. You're going to make different choices. You like, damn, I'm making different choices. Damn, look at my money. Because you wrote it down. It's really that easy. It's not that difficult.
Yeah, but the hardest part about anything is consistency. Consistently doing it with the amount of discipline that you need to get it done.
And that's it.
And that's the SawCast.
And that's the SawCast. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe to the channel. Hey, let us know.
We're gonna have the merch out soon.
The merch is out. The merch gonna be out. Yeah. So thank y'all for watching. Go ahead.
Appreciate y'all for watching.
Yeah.
But just continuously, strive and be better. And love is love.
Love and light, y'all.
Right, love life.
This with the I don't even know how the Jizzy do it, bro.
Who?
Jizzy do the heart.
I don't know how to do the
They be throwing up gang signs and shit. Please just get her. All right, y'all. Peace.